Hi everyone, I'm David. As most of you are aware, I've spent quite a bit of time, quite a bit of my life in prison, and I'm here today to answer some questions that some of you guys have put to me. Before we begin, though, I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. It really does mean a lot to me to be able to do something like this. So, without any further ado, let's crack on with the first question.
How did you find prison when you first went in?
Well, first time was what now 35 years ago. Um, it was in detention centre, but before I'd gone to detention centre, I was in the care of the local authority. I'd spent a bit of time in a secure unit, well, 2 weeks. You had to spend a bit of time in a secure unit before they took you over to the main house. And the secure unit that was a bit intense. It was very much security led. You couldn't go anywhere without two members of staff. Virtually every door that you come up to was locked. You weren't allowed shoes. You could only wear your socks when you was in the house. Um, you hardly ever got in the 2 weeks. I think I come out into the garden once. Um, and the windows in your bedroom they were only like about an inch. You could open them. So from there, as I say, I was there 2 weeks, and then I went over to the main house where I spent a number of months. And then after that, I got sent to HMDC Blantyre House, as I say, in 1985, and that was an experience that still sticks with me. Actually, that was quite an eye opener. It really did. You knew that you were somewhere different. You knew that you was in a different environment. And then after that. I went to HMDC Eastwood Park up in Gloucestershire, which is now a female prison.
Did you ever feel scared or get a hard time in prison?
Um, well, as I say, I mean, the first time, the secure unit, the children's home, it's sort of each one, or each time, if you like, as you progress through the system, each one holds its own, if you like, trepidations. You've always got, I suppose, the fear of the unknown wherever you go. And that's the same for an experienced prisoner is for a first timer. Unless obviously you've gone to that jail before, you don't know what the jail's like. So scared, I don't know, scared. I've always, I suppose, because of the way everything went when I was younger with the children's home, secure unit, children's home, detention centres. It was, I suppose, I wasn't the person that would scare easy, I suppose. So it was more scared of what was going to happen to other people while I was in there. That carried a bit more weight in regards of being scared. It's like what's going to be happening to your loved ones. So I suppose those really, and as I say, as time went on as well, when I was younger, it was my mum and dad and my brothers and sisters. As I grew up, it was my own children, and so again, them sort of levels of trepidation, those levels of fear, if you like, change as you grow older as well.
Were you always under the influence when you committed crime?
No, for the simple reason that I don't really see drugs as gateways to anything. For me, the gateway into drugs, the gateway into crime, were trauma or was trauma. So I had a lot of unresolved issues as well as the issues surrounding the drugs and the alcohol. So no, I wasn't always addicted. Okay, go on.
Question 4. Were you an addict and how did you beat that?
Um, yeah, I suppose I was an addict. I mean, I've been doing drugs and alcohol most of my life, so I have to squarely admit that, yeah, I was an addict. How I coped? Well, I didn't, obviously.
How did you beat it?
How did I beat it? Sorry. How did I beat it? Well, I didn't. For a number of years, it always had a hold of me. But this time around, this sentence that I've done from the 2 years in 2015 to 2017, I engaged with RAT, who's now the Forward Trust. I've done the short duration program, an addiction workshop. NA was available to me where I had to need it. And there was also support available, as you guys know, through the listener scheme. And you've got the drug reps as well, I suppose. So there was a lot of people around this time. In the past, when I've done prison sentences, if you like, I've utilised the resources available to make my time better in jail, rather than utilise those resources available to me sort my life out for outside jail. I, if you like, knew this time around what it was that I needed to do and what agencies that I could and should access. Moving on.
Question 5. Did you have good family support?
In my younger years, when I was going through the children's home detention centres and youth custodies and so on and so forth, yeah, I did. But then again, as time got older, I started to have my own children, and again, yeah, the family support was good. But then over the time, a raft of decisions I made, selfish behaviour, irresponsible, erratic behaviour. I'd lost everything. I'd lost all my family, my children, my grandchildren. I was street homeless, living in a church doorway. So one of the things that I'd done this time around was because of that, if you like, that situation of rock bottom, it gave me the opportunity to rebuild relationships, especially with my children and my grandchildren, which I was able to do. It did take me a bit of time, but then who can blame them when it's like the 9th, 10th, 11th time Dad's turning around saying, oh, this is the last time, this is the last time. And I proven wrong, or proven right even. So this time I've been able to, if you like, really utilise my actions over my words, and I've been able to show people that, look, this time is real, this time is different. So although the family support hasn't always been there, which has sometimes been down to my choice, I know through experience, and obviously through experience of others, how important that family support is and can be to someone when they're doing a prison sentence.
Question 6. What was the turning point for you? How did you start to make the change, and how did you cope with what others had to say?
Well, I'll answer the second part first. Coping with what other people say. At the end of the day, if you've got people around you that don't want you to change, don't want you to be a better person, then you really need to question whether they should be around you or not. So it was a case of really surrounding myself with positive role models, with people that I could look up to and that I could aspire myself to be. And I had those sort of role models in prison. For me, I doubt if people have heard of him, Mark Leach is someone that I respect and admire very much. Mark is someone that went through the system slightly before me, but near enough the same sort of journey. I mean, there's quite a lot. When you sort of get into the system, you guys know yourselves that we all share quite a similar story about how our early journeys got us into the situations that we're in. So, but the first part about turning my life around, it wasn't so much an epiphany, but I was, as I say, I hit rock bottom. I was back in prison, so it was a case of do or die. I was getting close to 50, I'm 50 now, and it was, if you like, I suppose, my last opportunity to try and make something of my life. And I'd like to think that I'm becoming successful in that.
Did you face any hurdles on your road to recovery?
Yeah, I mean, the majority of people on the road to recovery do face certain obstacles and hurdles. We had one in that last question where it's about the people that are around you. I mean, they can be a huge obstacle when you're trying to change and they hold you back. But other obstacles, I mean, yourself, really. I mean, it's you. You're the biggest obstacle in your life. You're the biggest hurdle in your life. You're also the biggest, if you like, the vehicle of opportunity. So it balances itself out. It's down to choice what you want to do and how you want to do it. There's always going to be hurdles, but it's how you perceive them, how you look at them. If you're serious about change and you really do want to turn your life around, then there's no reason why those hurdles, those obstacles can't become challenges, can't become opportunities, problems for you to find solutions from as you move on through life, which life is all about. And I suppose it strengthens you every time you do overcome one of those hurdles. It does give you that extra little bit of strength every single time.
Question 8. How many different jails have you been in, and what was the roughest?
How many different jails? Around a dozen, 13, 14. The roughest easy to work out. That was Pentonville. Oh my God, that was rough. I was in there 2004. And they used to get the mufti squad to get the cockroaches out of the cells. They were that big. I tell you, it was a horrible place. We used to put margarine on our beds, on the legs, you know, the metal ones, not these wooden kit beds they got now, but the metal frame ones. We used to put margarine, I don't know if you still do that, but we used to put margarine to stop the cockroaches climbing up. That was proper rough, Pentonville. Where I was on remand in D-Wing, and I'd been sentenced, sorry. I was on A-Wing on remand, and I'd been moved over to D-Wing, so I was sentenced. And they had me down to go at Parkhurst, and I didn't want to go to Parkhurst. So I was every day, just where you got the end of D-Wing, you got the entrance to visits, and there's also the other side of the gate was the movements office. So every day, every time I went down for a meal, every time I went down for social, I was in that office or outside the office. Gov, do me a favour, any buses. And I was fortunate that I ended up going to Blunderston, and that was in 2004. And I travelled up to Blunderston beginning of 2005.
Question 9. Was it Billy's mum's happiness of what you had done for Billy that made you turn your life around?
Funny enough, no. But yes. In a way, it was the beginning of the end of that life. It taught me, when I became a toe-by-toe mentor for the Shannon Trust, it taught me the art of giving back. It really did. And not only that, it also showed me what my experience might mean to somebody else just starting on that path. And for the initial things for me to become involved in, for it to unearth an event like what happened with Billy's mum, it was just incredible. And after becoming a toe-by-toe mentor, that was when I became a listener, way back in 2005. And ever since then, each time I've gone back, I've always tried to get involved in those roles, like education mentor, listener, prisoner rep, not because I'm a schoolboy, or these days working my ticket, but because I if you like, I become someone. Out here, you're like a small fish in a big pond. In there, I was a big fish in a small pond. I don't mean that from a violent point of view. I mean, there's more than one way of keeping things calm without being being violent, being a daddy, so to speak, or being a screwboy, or being a grass. There are other ways of keeping the landing not under wraps, but not under control, but calm. And over the years, I sort of, if you like, developed that skill, which I suppose in a way led to me becoming institutionalised, because it took me a while to understand that, well, hold on a minute, right, you're doing all this for in here, why don't you do exactly the same, but get out there and do it, like, in freedom? So, but then it became a case of, rather than breaking away from drugs, rather than breaking away from crime, I found myself that I was trying to break away from prison. So it was quite a strange experience, and it was one of the weirdest releases as well this time around. It did feel quite strange this time, but it also felt different for the right reasons.
Question 10. How bad was your life while on drugs?
To be honest, it's very difficult to say that my life was bad, because that was the whole point of taking the drugs, was to remove myself from that reality. So, however, my actual life on drugs was shit. I mean, I'm still suffering from now. Like, I've hardly got any teeth at the bottom. I don't think I'll ever have a podgy face ever again, so I'm always going to look like a crackhead. But it's just one of those. I mean, no, I mean, as I say, it was, yeah, of course, it was good while I was doing it. I was out my nut, but no, life and drugs are shit and really don't go hand in hand because it's not just the drugs themselves; it's everything that surrounds it. It's when you haven't got it and being ill or being irritable or being paranoid, or when you're trying to earn the money to get it and you're putting yourself at risk every time. If you obviously having to do it through criminal means, but so it isn't just the sort of drugs that cause the problem. It's that ripple effect that those drugs cause.
Question 11. Do you regret your crimes?
Um, I regret there being victims of some of my crimes, yeah. Do I regret the crimes? Look, at the end of the day, it was a life I led. I'm not going to start saying that, I was only dealing with them sort of people that deserve to get hurt or anything like that. But not all the crimes involve victims, if that makes sense either. So, or undeserving victims. But there are some crimes that I committed that I don't know, regret. I don't know, regret's such a strong word, and it's such a negative word. It's I'm gutted they happened, but I can't change it. So I think regret is something that you can use to sort of keep beating yourself up with. So it's something that happened. It's something I'm not proud of, but it's also something that led to me being the person I am now. So how can I really regret anything I've gone through?
Question 12. Do you think you could cope if you went back inside?
Apart from wanting to die with embarrassment and shame because of where I've put myself now and all those people I let down, yeah, I could. Yeah, I think I could. I've learned over the years to very much adapt to the surroundings that I found myself in. So yeah, I wouldn't want to go back, obviously, but like I say, I think the shame that I would feel in respect to my family and loved ones, no, the shame would be way too much. I would probably die of shame rather than have to cope with it. Okay, final question.
Did prison staff play a role in your recovery?
Yeah, oh yeah, very. Not just, I mean, they were part of my life for a long time. A quarter of my life I was in prison virtually, and or up until that point. So, yeah, I mean, look, it all comes down to, don't get me wrong, there are some bad members of staff. I mean, even decent members of staff would admit there are bad members of staff, but a very, very small minority. But then you get that in every walk of life. I mean, if you're going to get a large number of people, you can't, not everyone's going to be the same. There are going to be some different ones, and there are going to be some ones you're not going to get on with. But at the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to your own personal attitude. If you want to get in someone's face, you can't. I can't see much being done for you, put it that way. But if you're willing to work with someone, the support is there. And I've over the years, I've had some incredible support. It might be that, or it might seem that, all right, well, you was in and out most of your life. That support weren't working, but it kept me alive. It kept me going. I mean, it's got me to where I am now. So that prison support has been absolutely fundamental. In more ways than one, even when I haven't been wanting or willing to change. Just that support being there, and when I was ready, I suppose, when I was ready to understand what it was all about, and I knew what prison could be, what can be, and it was with the help of civilian staff as well as prison staff, and mental health as well with the National Health Service that are in prison. So. Yeah, I mean, prison staff, they well, look, at the end of the day, they're with you every day. They understand, they get it, and approach the right way with the right attitude. You will find that 99% of them are going to turn around and help you. All that's left for me to say is, once again, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been an absolute pleasure and delight to speak to you all, and I hope that sometime in the future I can get over there and come and see some of you guys face to face, see what you've been up to. I might have some even more news by then about another book that is coming up. But fingers crossed on that one. So anyway, take care, guys, and keep your chin up.